room.
Yes. We are.
As I pulled in, I struggled to find parking.
Are we starting?
Yeah, we're just gonna get right into it.
Okay.
We're just gonna get right into it.
I was like, okay, this
It's
sounds like
more
we're
fun
in it.
this way. As I pulled in, and everyone's gonna see my mustache slowly melt over the course of this conversation. There's a lot of people here, man.
Yeah, man. We got we figured out a while back, especially in real estate, that we actually, you don't own anything like as a broker or, as an organizational leader in real estate. You don't own anything. You literally only own influence. That's all you can do. All you can do is add value, because every single real estate agent is an independent contractor. They don't have to work for you, and we don't pay them.
Yeah.
Right? They make money when they close deals, right? So they expect to come to a place where they're getting something more than just being able to hang your license, because there's a million options where to hang your license. So about 11 years ago, I came into a brokerage that my business partner owned, and he already had certain beliefs. I believe culture starts with a belief system. So we believe that, we pay it forward. We don't cover our paper. We share information. We help each other. And we're very big into personal growth. So we kind of had those as a foundation. And over the past 11 years, we just kept building and building and building. And what you're seeing now is actually we're in a big transition coming into a new building. That's why we're in this construction zone right now. But this was a vision that we had a long time ago to truly kind of control our own destiny and create a space that didn't feel like an office, that was more like this kind of, we say we're a personal development company that happens to do real estate. We're looking to build people, and if we can build people, we know they're going to build a great business and they're going to become great real estate entrepreneurs. So, probably about 8 years ago, we stumbled across this EXP Realty model. And the beautiful part about that model, it allowed us to scale culture, right? Because in a traditional brokerage model, it's very tough to scale, right? You recruit, people leave. It's a revolving door type of model, right? And I always tell brokers, I was like, they leave you because they want to be you. Your best people want to take their business to the next level. And in a traditional brokerage model, that means you got to become a broker or you become a team leader, and you're going to do that somewhere else. So you spend all this time training these folks just for your income to walk out the door. The cool thing about the EXP Realty platform is that everybody's on the same plane, right? There's no different deal. I'm not actually a broker. I don't have to be. Right? And every single agent has the same exact opportunity. If they want to build something like this, they can right now, today, by simply attracting people to the company.
But they choose not to because of what the culture is like here.
No, they're building their own organizations within our culture, right? So that's part of that value add. Part of the value add is we're giving you a physical, personal development space for you to be able to bring in people under you, your brokerage. Mm-hmm. But those people are also part of us, right? That's what it's a multi-level, right? So for us, what we're doing is saying, hey, we're taking the risk of overhead, liability, all this stuff is a pure choice. Like EXP Realty doesn't pay for this. Mm-hmm. It's me and my business partner, Gil, and our partner, Veronica, that pay for this, right? But we're taking that chance because we feel like if we build community, we're going to attract more and more agents. We're going to be able to build a stronger and stronger culture, and we're going to be giving them the resource to also bring people in, right? And that's the whole thing. The whole thing is to scale this. I mean, there's guys making $1 million a month in residual income in this company, and they've done it all by inviting people to the company. And a lot of them don't even have office space, right? They don't have a local presence. They live in Puerto Rico now for the tax advantages. You know what I mean? But they've got 20,000 people in their organization, right? They're a big chunk of the 90,000 agent company. But that's the whole point. I mean, if you're a business owner, what are you looking at? Essentially, if you're truly a business owner, what you really want to do is make money off the business and not be self-employed. You want to be the owner.
Yep.
And you want to be sleeping and money coming into your bank account. Well, this gives everybody the chance to do that here.
Okay. Now, what was your first job, though?
First job. I believe my first job was Publix.
Are you a bagger? Bag boy?
Bag boy. I tend not to last very long at these jobs. Like, I feel like 3 months is about my average on most of those type of jobs. So never forget it. I was working at a Publix in Sanford, Florida. I don't know if you've ever been to Sanford, but Sanford's cool now. It wasn't that cool back then. And so it was kind of a more ratchet Publix. It was like a ratchet Publix. But yeah, man, that first job as bag boy, I just, I never had stood on my feet for that many hours straight, and like my knees were hurting and all this stuff. And I was like, man,
May I help you to your car, ma'am?
I was like, this is not what I thought it was gonna be. Plus, listening, because I was in a ratchet Publix, like all my like coworkers were like had all these wild like stories, and all I thought to myself was like, I'm gonna end up like them. I gotta get out of here as soon as possible. So that lasted about 3 months. Yeah, that was my first job.
This is what, teenage years?
Yeah,
Right.
I think I would have been like 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're doing the job for gas money, go out, hang out with your friends.
Yeah, exactly. Gas money, hang out with friends. Maybe be able to get a new car or something. But yeah, it wasn't. It was just what you thought you had to do.
Yeah.
Like you're 16 now, you should make your own money and start
Yeah.
making some money.
I applied at Publix when I turned 16. Actually, a little bit before that, and I got turned down. And I didn't realize that they did that. I thought it was just a rite of passage for every high schooler to be a bag boy at Publix.
Is there this higher demand for this job that you can hire me?
There must have been. I became a lifeguard, which was pretty fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, Wet and Wild. Remember when they were still around?
Wet and Wild used to be it.
Yeah.
We used to do when I played Pop Warner football, we used to do our like end of the year
Parties there?
Yeah, parties there, and it was like my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Now all I think about is how many people have been in this pool.
Yeah.
like back then it was like, yeah, lazy river, and like swimming in urine.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking right now.
I can tell you from working those parties, those buyouts, the things we would fish out of the lazy river.
Oh,
yeah. But so when you were a bag boy at Publix, did you have a kind of a goal in mind? Like, did you know what you wanted to be then?
No, man. I really had no direction. I always tell people that I just kind of followed the path of like what I was supposed to do, right?
Okay.
Like I was, it's almost like I was just making sure that everybody was happy with what I was doing. And when you're going in school, you're just trying to, if I get good grades, I'm playing sports, I'm doing all the things, then everybody's like, dude, you're doing great. You're doing a great job.
Just keep it up.
Just keep it up. Keep it up, buddy. And so I never really thought about like, okay, after all this is done, like what am I going to do? Actually, it wasn't until like my last semester of college that I started to really freak out, because I had really been riding this wave, because I was a good student. So everybody always, so you go into high school, you're a great student, you're an athlete, everybody thinks you're doing great. Next logical step is college. Go to University of Florida. I'm going to a major school. I got straight A's in college. I was a smart kid. I know how to at least regurgitate information. I was really good at that. So once again, when people ask you what you do in college, you're like, oh, I go to or what do you do? I'm University of Florida.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome, man. Like, you're great. And then so it was really last semester that I was like, wait, this is about to be over. Like, there is no other logical step here besides like, I guess I have to get a job. But like my major, I wasn't going to do anything that I was in sports management and business, but like I thought sports management was going to be like being Jerry Maguire. Like when Jerry Maguire came out, I was like, I'm going to take the sports management because then maybe I'll be a sports agent. But like the curriculum was nothing about that. It was actually a lot of anatomy, physiology, like more like sports training versus sports like business. I thought it was like the business of sports,
Yeah.
So yeah, I was pretty lost until I came out of college, and then I had a panic moment.
I could see you as an agent though. I'm thinking of what was that, Ballers?
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
I could see you could
100%. I wish. Yes, I've thought this to myself, because the only reason I picked sports management because I was really just like I was really flipping through the majors in the book for the university, and I was like, dude, what do I actually like get excited about? And there was like, I did all the other subjects, but the only thing I was ever excited about really was sports. Like I loved playing sports and being in that world, and so I was like, dude, this makes sense. Boom, let's do this. There was just nobody. I had great parents, but I don't know that I had like, a lot of mentorship, when it came to business and things like that. I got the love, I got the support, but nobody was telling me about what was next, or, putting me in different situations to kind of expose me to different things to like really know, like, what would I do?
Do you think that's why you get so excited about what you're building here?
Yeah, I mean, I really get a lot of energy from people, and so like for me, this like real estate is actually one of the fun. Like, okay, I'm very fun driven, right? Like if I ain't having fun, I probably won't last in whatever I'm doing. Like if I really just dislike it, and then there's some people that I'm just gonna grind it out and push through. I'm like, and it's not always fun, but like I really need to be excited to do well. And so real estate is truly one of the most unique businesses in that realm because you attract a certain type of person, right? You're basically attracting people who don't want to be in the corporate world, that are finally stepping out and placing a bet on themselves and coming out into the industry. People who are usually great, people who are great at real estate oftentimes come from bartending or hospitality or they were selling like insurance, which was like cool and they were making money, but just didn't feel it. You come into real estate, now you're helping somebody buy their first home. Now you're getting good to go look at cool houses and then real estate is heavily like there's a real estate event going on every single day of every week. And it's food and it's drinks and it's people and it's it's almost like we built an industry around the party.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. And so I'm excited because I truly enjoy what we do, and now I'm in a position where I get to impact people, right? I get to not only educate them on real estate, investing, commercial real estate, all of it, but I also get to impact them spiritually. You and I go to our business Bible study, and over the years, I think what I realize is that, and even my pastor says that, there's a big opening for business ministry, really. Like, it's not like you go to church and then that message stays in there. Like that message is here too. That message is in business. Matter of fact, Bible is a business book. Like the business principles are in there, the investing principles are in there. So now I'm looking at it more like, okay, this could be one of the places where I make a lot of impact on people, right? And I've been able to, I've been in it now technically 25, 26 years. I started, in 2002 as a loan officer, but in real estate, retail real estate since 2015.
Okay. So you come out of college, panic moment sets in.
Panic.
And did you just start flailing? Did you just like start throwing stuff at the wall and see what stuck? Or?
Well, yeah. I was thinking about this earlier when you were saying like place bets on yourself. So, I get out of college and I'm literally, so a lot of things were happening at once. So I was graduating college. Literally the month before I left to go do my internship, which was my last semester of college, I meet a girl. Like I had never been in love with anybody. Like I liked girls, messed around with girls before that. It was like nothing ever serious. Literally the month before I leave Gainesville, this girl comes into my life and I'm just like head over heels for this person. Smitten. And to the point where like I used to be the guy that my boys are like, dude, Bobby, you're never gonna settle. Like, bro, you've never like.
You were that guy in the group.
I was that guy in the group, and now I meet this girl, and I'm suddenly like, all I want to do is be with her, right? And like a month later, I was leaving, and I literally like sat her down. I was like, hey, I'm leaving, Gainesville, whatever. And she's like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, we're gonna make it work. Like, we're gonna do long distance. Like, I'll be up here every weekend. Like. It was that easy. I went from like being the guy that was super hardcore to being like, yeah, we're going to make this work.
I'm in a committed long distance relationship.
Yeah, that's it. So that was happening. So there was a certain pull to come back to school.
Okay.
Because I thought to myself, well, maybe I can just, get my master's in something, and I reached out to some professors that I had, and I was really just like hoping for a lifeline. And I think that this is where the placing the bet on yourself, when I realized like nobody's coming to save you. I was talking to people and I was trying to figure it out and I was freaking out, but at the end of the day, nobody was coming to save me. I had to figure this thing out, like what I was going to do. So, in that process, I really thought about getting my master's, but I realized that it was a cop-out. Like I was just scared. And if I would have gone back to school, it would have just purely been because I didn't have the balls to figure out what I really wanted to do. So funny enough, I wasn't working for a little bit. I was living with my mother. And the first job I had after college, after graduating with a 4.0, was being a bar back at a club. Like that's the first thing that I did. And the other thing, I had a big fear business to me sounded boring. Like I said, nobody really taught me about business. All I knew is that my dad never talked about his job, and my mom never seemed excited about working. So it just seemed like that sucks, right? And then like my dad used to go by Bob, and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be some guy 40, 50 years old in a cubicle named Bob, like miserable, and so everything in my mind was not even thinking business world. And then, I'm sure you got some questions after that, but that's what happened after college.
You're just trying to figure out what to do. And I feel like I've seen this too with like friends who like, they didn't really know what they wanted to do. So they're like, well, I'll just continue on this college ride for a while.
Yes.
And they go and get a master's and a PhD. And then they're like, oh, I'm sitting in a lab every day. I didn't want to do this.
Yes.
Well, they never deviated from that path.
Right. And I'm actually listening to a book called Range. And it talks specifically about that, how, we tend to tell kids, figure out what you want to do, specialize, do that. The earlier you can figure it out, the better. And they tend to have good results in the short term, right? Those kids. But the kids that tried a bunch of things and then specialize later because they found the thing, long game, they win, right? So, but nobody teaches you this, right? This is what I'm reading now at 47, that's what I'm reading now. But like, I feel a lot like that. Like I tried some different things, and my buddy came. So I was living with my mother after college, and my buddy comes to me one day and says, "Hey, listen, I'm living with my dad. I need to get out of that house. You should probably move out of your mom's place." He's like, "Let's get an apartment together." And we had a buddy that was a manager at an apartment complex in Maitland, so we were going to get a discount. I was like, "Yeah, cool." He goes, but you got to get a job.
Yeah.
Because we got to pay for the apartment. I'm like, oh. I'm like, well, I don't even know where to start. And he's like, well, buddy Jason just got a job at this new club called Antigua that was opening up in downtown Orlando.
Antigua.
You remember that?
Oh, man. That's old.
That's old school. Bro, you know how old that is? Like, I actually was painting the place before it opened. Like, I was there at the very beginning of Antigua. Like, I was at the beginning. And so I went in there, went for a job interview to be a bar back.
Which basically just show up. Right. Are you sober, right?
Yeah.
Or at least sober at the moment?
Yeah.
Welcome.
Are you sober right now? It's okay if you drink on the job. We don't care. Just show up on time.
Yeah.
So ended up doing that. Worked there for a year. We were just close to a little bit over a year. But basically, you can't stay. If you have bigger goals, you just can't stay in a job. Like I just knew, like, I did try to be like, will they make me a bartender? But they really were just hiring hot girls as bartenders. Like if you weren't a hot girl, you weren't getting the bartending job, right? And I was like, okay. So I was bar back, and I was like, you know what? I'm like not using my brain here. Like I'm literally just chucking bottles and trash cans and doing all that stuff. And I'm like, I just set a marker like by my birthday, I'm gonna be out of here one way or the other. I got to figure something out. And by the grace of God, I met a guy who was opening up a branch of a mortgage company. Like literally during the time I said, God, I'm gonna figure, like we're gonna figure this out.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting out of here. Like I know I can't stay here. The opportunity came.
Were you a believer then?
Always been a believer. I think just more lukewarm. I grew up, mom was a Bible reader, and we went to church. We weren't like a crazy church family. Like my dad, if I said I don't want to go to church, my dad'd be like, cool, don't go. Like
me either.
He wasn't like a big pusher of that. We did go to church and stuff like that, and I would read the Bible as a young kid. I enjoyed it actually. But I got into the world, I got into the world. I got into all the stuff that I'm, basically cleaning out of my spirit now. You know what I'm saying? Because, I didn't have a lot of direction in that sense. Like I was a good person and I believed in God, but I was still doing all these other things that were contrary to that. So I've been a believer in that sense. I always have faith that like God would always come through, but I'm really now in the past 3-4 years diving in.
I feel like a lot of people either have like this moment where everything's falling apart, and then suddenly the right thing presents itself.
Yep.
Or there's a bunch of these like little nudges, and it's like just get back on track. Like just this is the route I need you to go. Right.
Like you're talking specifically in the spiritual, like
yeah, I feel like people, when they
like
finally
either things
find
get really bad and then they come to God.
Yeah.
Or
there's these little nudges where it's like, if you would, you're almost there, little guy. Just, stay on the path,
Yep.
And so I feel like this is one of those moments, your buddy trying to move out of his dad's house.
Yep.
Moves you in, and then, hey, I've been doing this bar back thing, but hey, I'm not a hot girl. Sorry.
Right.
Can't change that.
Right.
Right. And so then it's like, okay, well, hey, why don't you, I'm opening this office. Why don't you come work with me?
Yeah. It was basically that, God really answered a prayer and even prayers that I did not really wanted because, like I said, I didn't know anything about business and I thought it was boring. So, I told you I'm very fun driven. So
home loans didn't sound
no. So I was like, okay. So when I started in the mortgage business, I was like, this is actually kind of fun. There's massive amount of variety. I'm using my brain. Like there's numbers involved, but there's people involved, and it was a fun industry. It was same thing. Like the real estate side probably even more fun, but like the lending side, same. It's like we're in the same family, right? And so I was like, man, there's a lot of variety in this job. It keeps you on your toes. You learn something new with every deal. You're working with people and you're helping them, make one of the biggest purchases that most people ever make in their life. And I was like, it was the first time that it hit me. I was like, oh, okay, this is a sport too. This is a sport. Like it's a game, right? There's rules to the game. There's ways you win the game. And I started to enjoy it. And that was a prayer answered because that got me down the entrepreneurial path. And I realized, okay, actually this is a game I can play, but it was all by pure, chance and God, right? That's providing me the opportunity.
Because you were a football player, right? Wide receiver?
Wide receiver,
defensive
back.
Did a little research.
Yeah, a little wide receiver, defensive back. But that was a crazy story. That was a crazy put a bet story too. So I was actually, when I first started playing football, I was in 4th grade and I was a chunky kid, right? And they have weight limits in Pop Warner. So when I'm
very familiar.
Yeah. So he's like, I've been there.
I remember having to cut just a couple pounds just so I wouldn't get.
Yeah. Well, in 4th grade, I had to cut 10 pounds. And if you know how much kids weigh in 4th grade, that was a big chunk of my weight.
Yeah.
And so that's actually how I got into health stuff. Like I literally told
4th grade?
Like my mom in 4th grade. Yeah. Because my mom had to start cooking healthier. Wow. I had a goal. I needed to lose 10 pounds in order they wouldn't let me play. I literally missed half the season because I was still overweight. Like I just couldn't 10 pounds was a lot. Like we were, whatever. So, where do they put the chunky kids? So my goal, my dream, I'm playing in Sandlot, I was crushing, right? And so in Sandlot, you're either quarterback or receiver. Like you're playing all the fun positions,
Yeah.
And so I wanted to play like running back, receiver, whatever. But where do they put the chunky kids when they play football?
On the line.
On the line, on the offensive line. And so I was like, oh, this is great. So I get to move these people out of the way so the people there can score touchdowns and get all the glory. Like that's my job now.
And I gotta wear the stretchy pants and look like this.
Yeah, and look like this, and and it was a challenge at first. I was really unhappy with the position, and I thought about quitting, especially the first time I got hit hard, and I was like, oh, this is different than Sandlot, But I'm very glad I stuck with it. I think I really just enjoyed being a part of something, like being a part of this club and this group of people, and it was something that I'm glad I stuck with, but I ended up playing offensive line for 4 years, even after I lost the weight. So I became a skinny kid. Like by the time I was in 6th grade, you wouldn't look at me and think offensive lineman. And I would beg the coaches to let me play something different. Like, hey man, look at me. I got a 6-pack now. I am not, I'm not a super tall guy. I'm not fat anymore. They're like, yeah, but you're the best offensive lineman we got now. And I'm like, dang. So they would let me play a couple of little different things here and there, maybe some defense once in a while just to kind of try to keep me happy. But when I transitioned from middle school to high school, I knew I would never play offensive line in high school. Once you made that transition from 8th grade to 9th grade and I was going to high school football, and like I said, I was 5'6", 145 pounds. I'm not playing offensive line. So I literally, the coach first day comes in, he's like, what position you play, son? And I was like, running back. And he's like, well, we got too many of those. How about receiver? I'm like, fine.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. And ended up becoming all conference wide receiver.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like, and it was just like literally went from like hating my position to changing my position to becoming a receiver. The varsity team in high school had their worst season ever that year. So they brought up 11 freshmen from the freshman team to varsity. Like we skipped JV. We actually went up there for the last last few games of their season, and I was one of the 11 players chosen as a wide receiver to go to the thing. That's all happened in a 1 year span.
Jeez, man. And just literally just because you're like, no, this is what I do.
Yeah.
Even though you probably played the position before, but
I played on the street.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
not...
Like, listen, I knew how to run. I knew how to do all these different things. And I knew how to catch a ball. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I felt like inside I was always like an offensive type of player. Like, that's what when I played Sandlot, like I was pretty good, you know? But like, you know, full contact sports, totally different. You know, when it's full contact, it was a totally different ball game.
Yeah. So you get into mortgage lending.
Yep.
That's early 2000s, right? So that's pre-financial
crisis.
I've heard some stories, and I don't know what the statute of limitations are, so we don't have to go there. But I've heard some stories from other friends who are MLOs about some of the things that would happen.
Yeah.
And how you would, like, I had a friend of mine who was an MLO, and, you know, they would open up financial reports in Microsoft Paint and just, I'm like, oh, there you go.
You know, so I would say that I was on the more conscientious side of, like, I didn't do stuff like that per se. There was one incident that I got in trouble for doing something, but it was because I was trying to help a friend. Like, it wasn't like that was what I did. Matter of fact, I didn't get in trouble because they knew that's not who I was.
Yeah.
It was like something complete, like it was something stupid. Like, it was you know, when you repull a credit report, sometimes you lose points. And literally these people were like 2 points above the right marker, and then because they repulled it, it dropped them to like 2 points under the marker, which would kick them out of the loan, right? So that's all I'll say about that. What happened there, but I didn't get in trouble for that. But honestly, what was crazy is that everything was incentivizing people to do that. Mm-hmm. This is why the whole system crashed, because, you know, people were getting pushed to do more loans. They were doing 100% loans, no money down, stated income loans. You just literally, like, just tell me what you make. and you might be like 5,000. You'd be like, that's not going to cover it. How about 10,000 a month? Just say you're in sales. I mean, it was like that. Like, it was like that. And it was that easy to get a deal passed through. And the lenders wanted, they were making a ton of money.
Yeah.
They were selling these mortgages off. They're making a ton of money. So they're incentivizing their underwriters to be lenient. They're incentivizing us with these products. There was over 100%. I remember, like, picking up flyers that said 125% loan. I'm like, and back then, you know, that was all I knew. So I was like, oh man,
this is great.
This is the way the game works.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest, I benefited from it in the sense, like, I got to buy my first house with no money down because, like, I knew how to do it. Like, I was doing it for other people. And, like, so at 23 years old, I was able to buy my first house. I'm like, no money down or whatever. I was like, it was wild back then, bro. It was so wild. But yeah, there's definitely some people doing really shady stuff. I would be the guy, like, I would really talk people out of dumb things. Like, I wouldn't want to do a loan and put you in a bad position unless you truly insisted this is what you wanted to do. You know, and that happened a couple times where I was like, bro, what are you doing, man? And like, you know, everybody became an investor back then because everybody was making so much money. And there were some people making some bad decisions. And I would tell them, I would be like, listen, man, I'd love to do this loan for you, but like, that's not a good idea, George. Like, it's just not.
Yeah.
But then they would be like, no, but I definitely want to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm like, and then I'll be like, well, you're going to go to somebody else and get the loan. So I'll do the loan for you, but I already told you, like, you're overpaying for this thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's already gained $60,000 in equity. How much more in 3 months? How much more do you plan to get in the next 6? Like, you know, it's wild stuff happening.
You got that same conversation in 2020, 2021 with homes and equity. It's insane. So, but I mean, there's a piece of integrity there, right? So you obviously had something that you weren't willing to give that up.
Right.
Well, I'm willing to play the game, and I'm willing to play within the bounds and the rule book that I'm given. But at the same time, you're looking at these plays, if you will. If we're making the sports analogy, we're like, I don't feel good about that.
Right. No, you don't, and I think that's important. I think you want to have integrity in business. I do an investor event. I did one last night. I interviewed this guy, Felipe with Northwestern Mutual, and I work with him, but I was with another financial advisor prior to meeting with him. And I met him at an event, really liked him, kind of like you met you. I was like, oh, I like this guy. And, we started talking, and he's like, well, let's do a discovery. Like, let me see what you got going on. And I showed him like the portfolio that my other financial advisor put me in. And he's like, that's pretty good. Like, I would do something very similar for you. So you don't have to move that over to me or anything like keep it where you have it. He's like, let's just, let's do some future business together. And just him saying like that, instead of just trying to sell me on something and just telling me the truth, like, hey man, he's actually doing pretty good for you. Like, that's what I might do a couple of things different, but that's really good. You can stay there. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, well, I'll just start a life insurance policy with you. Like, let me start something with you.
Yeah.
And, like a year or two later, I switched everything over to him. You know what I mean? But it was because of that integrity that he had.
People want to work with people that we've had this conversation over breakfast. People want to work with people that they like, know, and most importantly, trust.
Yep.
Right. And we've had this conversation, but I don't want to do deals with people that I don't want to work with.
Right.
Right. If every single day the world's on fire and it's burning down, I don't want that. I don't need that in my life.
Yeah. And the older you get, the tighter your box gets, like your buy box. It's like, wait, because time becomes such a more valuable asset, and so if you're spending your time stressing out because this person's like an a-hole, or they're not listening to you, and this deal's wild, and it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
Like, somebody else can do the deal. It's fine. Like, I have faith that I'll make just as much more money or even more working with people I actually like and that I actually like to work with.
So I know there's going to be some people who would be very upset with me if I didn't go back for a second.
Yeah.
Your long distance relationship. I can't leave that. I can't leave that thread.
I thought you were going to go back to the market crash.
No, I can't leave that thread unpulled there.
Yeah.
Well, so the significance of that, right? You turned on a dime to a committed man.
It was really important. I think it was a very important thing to just learn that I could feel that kind of feeling.
Okay.
Because I had never really felt it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because in high school, people are like, oh, I'm in love with this girl, I'm in love with this guy, and it's like everybody's like, and then they break up, and then they're in love with somebody else like the week later. Like, I'm like, how do you guys? I'm like, maybe I lack this gene.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel the same things people feel. But that relationship, I was like, oh,
I get it now.
I get it. I'm like, this is a different vibe, So that was a very important, I think, inflection point for me, relationship-wise. But it also taught me that I was willing to pivot, right? Like, I was never so hardcore that I didn't think I could be in a relationship. I was just kind of like, nothing is exciting me enough.
Yeah, you hadn't felt that spark.
Right. So that was big. And it wasn't like it lasted forever either. It was I used to say that we dated for 6 months, and she broke up I broke up with her, and then we dated for another 6 months, and then she broke up with me. But technically she broke up with me twice. Like, because the reason I broke up with her the first time was because something had happened where she literally ghosted me for like 3 days. Like, we used to talk every single day, and like I said, it was long distance. And then she just disappeared for like 3 days. And then when I asked her what was up, like, I could just hear something in her voice. And it was like, there was no good explanation for what. And I was like, oh, I don't know what happened, but I think I got to get out of this thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I used to tell myself that I broke. I was like, no, actually, she did it twice, because it was her actions that caused me to say, okay, I'm not going to do that. But obviously she came back a few days later, apologized, whatever. And I was in love with the girl. So I was like, I'll give you I'm definitely willing to give you a second chance, because I've never felt this before. And then a year later, she broke it off. So, and we're still friends. We're
she's right downstairs. No, I'm just kidding.
She works for me now. No. She was Puerto Rican, and she went back to Puerto Rico for years. She got married. She had some kids and stuff like that. But we reconnected actually last year. Like, we had connected like once or twice in the 25 years, in between. But never really stayed in touch. And then she reached out to me last year when I was heading to Puerto Rico, and she's like, oh, I see that you're going to Puerto Rico. I'm going to be down here. blah, blah, blah. And it was cool. So, and honestly, still super cool like fun to hang out with. Like,
Yeah.
it was the same, we have great conversations. She's a fun person. We have a good time together and all that stuff. But, 25 years have passed and there's a lot of baggage there. So it is what it is.
I had to ask because you brought it up, and I'm like, there's a lesson learned here.
100%.
Okay. So when do you get into real estate? Like true real estate.
True. So obviously I consider lending real estate. So, I'm financing real estate. So I start in mortgages. I start to do some investments on my own. I had at that time they were doing a lot of apartment to condo conversions downtown.
This post financial crisis?
No, this is before.
Okay.
This is before. So this is leading up to it. This is from like 2002 to 2006 that everything was going down.
And so you're starting to make some actual financial bets in your life, right? Because you'd been making good money. Obviously, you've had great commissions, I'm sure, from being a loan originator. And now you're starting to put some of that equity or that reward to work for you.
And that's part of what I love about real estate and financing, because it's such an important piece of the investment game and the wealth building game. And I just happen to be that I'm in the industry. Like we preach it here. Like, if you're in real estate, you're not buying real estate. Like, what are you doing? Like, you understand this better than most people.
Well, have you ever seen those TikToks where the guy's going around like, hey, I see you're driving this Ferrari. What do you do for work? 9 times out of 10, they're in real estate.
In real estate, some way, shape, or form.
Right. Or that they're in software. They built some sort of tech startup. But a majority of the time, a big bulk of their...
And even if they're not in it, part of their portfolio is real estate. Like, they understand that this is an important thing. So I started to figure out, okay, well, I understand the money part. That's how I bought my first home. I'm starting to understand this investment thing because I'm seeing these apartment to condo conversions, and like whenever same thing happens in the new construction community. Have you ever bought new construction?
No, never bought new construction.
Every new construction community works the same. Like, let's say there's 300 homes. Well, the first ones start at this price. Once they sell 5 of them, the price goes up. Once they sell 5 more, the price goes up. And it keeps going, right? So if you're the first one in, you almost have built-in equity.
Yeah.
If you're in phase 1 of a project, and that's what these apartment to condo conversions were. I knew a girl that worked for, back then it was called Caldwell Banker Condo Store. They were like specific group that was specifically for condos. And I knew a girl that worked for them. And so she would tell me in advance, we're about to go to this building. And in advance, I would be like, I want to be the first deposit. By the time they sold out the building, my unit was already 30, 40, 50, 60, sometimes $100,000 over what I had paid for it. So that was like my first thing. So I was in real estate investing at the time, but in 2006, I got my license. I was watching all these realtors make more money than me. So, and because in mortgages, you maybe make 1% to 2%. You make 1% to 2%. Sorry, guys, we're in a construction zone. We make 1% to 2% maybe on the loan amount. They're making 3% on the purchase price. And I was like, wait a minute.
You hear that a lot from people who've made the jump.
Yeah. I was like, okay, the math ain't mathin'. And I'm like, and a lot of people back then, especially before the crash, would do both. So I could actually do the real estate deal for you and also finance you. And you can still do that now, but they put a lot more regulations in place after the market crash for kind of that double dip,
Yeah.
So I got my license in 2006. Really just for me. I would maybe do a deal or 2 a year for a friend, but it wasn't like what I was trying to do. It was really 2014 when I got in. I had gone through a lot of different stages. I tried to get an entertainment company off the ground. I had filed bankruptcy at age 29. Like, I had gone through a lot of different things, and I was working for my buddy's PR agency, making good money again. But most people, like everybody, when you're not I'm like, okay, well, what's next though? Like, I could do this, but this is not like a lifelong thing. Like, is there another position for me? When I realized there wasn't another position, I was like, okay, I got to find what's next. And the next thing I choose needs to be it. And literally I waited 6 months. I didn't do anything for 6 months. I had saved money. So I was just like, dude, I'm not going to push this. I'm going to let God truly, like, I got to feel it. Like, this is the route. And got a call from a buddy, said he was starting a wholesaling company, which is just basically flipping contracts on real estate. And he's like, would you want to do this with me? And I'm like, dude, I think I've been waiting for this call. Like, real estate makes a lot of sense. I'm like, I already got my license. I was like, I can control my time, control my destiny. It's a wealth building type of industry. So I started with the wholesaling, figured out that was a bit grimier like game, and it was cool, but like probably not where I wanted to stay. But what I figured out was that I could turn a lot of these wholesale deals into listings. And when I figured that out, it got me on the track to find a realtor who would help partner with me. And in that process, I found the realtor. She's in this building right now, actually. She's still with us. This is 11 years ago. And I found her. I went to do a deal with her, and she told me, when I met her at her office, and she told me, you need to meet my broker. And I was like, I don't need to meet your broker. I'm like, I just listen, I just want 25% from the deals I'm sending you. Like,
Yeah.
We don't need to, I hanging my license with a friend of mine. She's like, no, I think you really need to meet my broker. I'm like, all right, well, maybe one day, but let's do this. But I got such a great vibe talking about culture. The culture was already good. I think it's great now, but it was good enough then that I literally walked out and I was driving home and I'm like, I think I'm gonna hang my license here. Like, it feels good in this place. Like, I love the people. I just felt warm in this place. Like, the people I met, the lady at the front, the vibe. And that's how I got into retail real estate. And then I hung my license with them. And the broker that she was talking about is my current business partner.
Look at that.
Just the way God works.
Just
man.
look at that.
Look
man.
at that, man. It was
Absolutely
wild. It's wild.
insane.
It's wild. Like, you just gotta, it's like you're following this like rabbit hole and you don't know exactly where it goes, but you're just making these moves, you know?
Yeah. Well, you're taking a step. There's a step of faith there,
Yes.
right? I'm at the end of the sidewalk, the piece that's paved, and I'm just like, I guess we'll take another step. Right? I'm not going to go all the way back.
Yeah.
I'm going to take another step and just see, is there more sidewalk underneath this darkness here, or is this the cliff? I don't know. But I'm
But
taking
like
that step in
God
faith.
nudges you,
Yeah.
like, and you got to follow the nudges,
Yeah.
like you might not, he doesn't always give you the entire plan, because he wants you to have faith in the plan, right?
Yeah.
And oftentimes, 100% of the time, his plan's better.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got all these visions of what it's supposed to look like, but he's like, wait to see what I do. Right. So yeah, I was just kind of following these little steps and, kept progressing from there.
I can't remember if I shared this with you, but when I met with my broker when I was joining the business brokerage, Fitzgibbon Alexander, I sat down with Matt, and over the course of the next couple of hours, he told me every reason why I shouldn't become a business broker. He just rattled off all the reasons why I shouldn't do it. And at the end, I was like, well, then why should I? He goes, freedom of time and you control your destiny. And I was like,
why didn't you lead with that?
But to his credit, he was making sure that there was no disillusionment what was going to come, right?
Yes.
He's like, you could go and become a real estate agent and you probably have your first listing in a couple months, right? Probably sooner. You get a really good place. He goes, you might go without a paycheck for a year as a business broker, right? But he led with that at the very end. And I was like, sign me up. Let's go.
That's amazing.
And there's so many reasons I got nudged in that direction. And that's a podcast. I'll have my wife interview me one day or something like that.
Yeah.
But,
and it's important to set expectations like that, because then once somebody gets disappointed, they won't stick with it. We do the same thing here with real estate. I tell people, like, this is not a job. This is not a career. This is real estate entrepreneurship. Meaning you're starting a business and you're not going to talk to any entrepreneur or business owner who won't tell you that it's going to be a heavy lift. Matter of fact, you're going to do more work to get this thing off the ground than you would at any job or anything like that. All you have to have faith is going to be worth it, right? It's going to be worth it. Like, if you stick with it, you're going to get to the other side. But don't come in here thinking because you saw, your homeboy or homegirl on Instagram, like they're selling on it. Like, go look up their numbers. Let's see how much they're actually closing. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. When did you start seeing yourself as an entrepreneur? Or do you see obviously you see yourself as an entrepreneur because you're setting that expectation.
Yeah, I think we throw that term around pretty loosely, and I honestly, like, I don't necessarily even think that way of myself. I just feel like I'm following a path. But everything I've done is pretty much entrepreneurship in some way, shape, or form in the past 25 years, right? Like being a mortgage, being a loan officer, mortgage broker is just, you're 100% commission. So you essentially have your own business, right? Then I opened up a mortgage company. So I had my own mortgage company from 03 to 07 until the market crashed. So I was not, but I never at that point thought like, I'm an entrepreneur. I just thought like, this is just the next logical progression of what I'm doing. And so I don't walk around thinking like, I'm this or that, you know what I'm saying? I'm just kind of like, and maybe I'm not even a good entrepreneur. I think that to myself sometimes. I'm like, you know what? Am I even a good entrepreneur? Like, because I'm like, maybe I'm a better intrapreneur. Like, maybe I'm better working within a system than creating the system.
Honest question. Have you watched a single episode of this? Of this podcast? You
No.
can be honest.
No.
Entrepreneur versus entrepreneur has come up on every single episode.
Really?
Almost every single episode, that topic has come up.
That's weird.
And I think it's because none of the people I've interviewed, both the episodes that have been shown and the ones that are pre-recorded, I don't think anyone really sees themselves that way, but they also don't take themselves too seriously.
Right.
And I think they're just, hey, I just want to be bigger and better. I want to be 1% better every day, which I get from you from top conversations. You haven't used that phrase with me, but you just seem to be like, all right, this is where I'm at now, and I want to be better tomorrow. So I'm going to, whatever that next logical step is.
Yeah.
I think that's entrepreneurship.
Yeah, it is entrepreneurship, but the term entrepreneur wasn't really a term even growing up. Like that wasn't used, but I like that it exists now because I think that there's a lot of people that feel that they like I think it has a lot to do with me like managing people. Like I feel like my business partner is way better at managing people and organizations because he's worked for corporate America and he's done all those different things where like I'm more of a free spirit in a sense. Like I don't actually enjoy telling people what to do. I just don't. You know what I mean? Like I like being my own boss, but I don't necessarily get excited about managing people, right? Yeah. Because I don't like to be told what to do. So like why would I tell other people, right? But obviously I do, right? We have employees but I think of myself more of like a coach, you know, than necessarily like I'm a manager or whatever the case may be. I'm like, dude, that, you know, like obviously we're running a business, we got to do stuff. But I think that sometimes that's why I feel like there's some people that want to like own this massive corporation, and all I think about is headaches and liability when they talk about like if you told me like, Bob, you could have a 30,000 employee organization and be a multi-billionaire. I was like, you can have that.
Yeah.
Like I as long as I'm made enough money, like what I really wanted to be a full-time investor, so I don't have, you know, the least amount of liability and the least amount of adult daycare. Yeah. Like if I can pull those things off, I won. You know. Well,
they say in every good business you have a visionary and you have an operator.
Yeah.
Right. So you have the person who's driving the ship, and then the person who's the jet or driving the plane, flying the plane, and the person who's the jet fuel. Right. And so it almost sounds like in your dynamic with your business partners that you're not necessarily the chief visionary, but like that culture piece, I think, rolls into that visionary, and you enjoy that piece. Whereas sounds like your business partner enjoys the operations and the moving of things around.
Yeah, I think we're both a hybrid. You know, he definitely is visionary. Like he sees things in the future a lot of times that I can't see. I'm very more the people's champ. And I see things in the human realm that he probably doesn't see sometimes, right? Because he's, you know, a hard, you know, deep personality, right? So he's just this and that, and you know, and my job is he balances me out and I balance him out. Like, hey man, like I understand that on paper that sounds good, but there's human collateral damage to that, which means that it's going to be a long-term loss, you know, if this happens. So let's figure out how to make it in a way that still gets the job done, but we also take account, let's say, people's feelings, right, and things like that. So I think we're a little bit of both. You know, I definitely we definitely do both. You know, we do visionary operational stuff, and I don't know if that's the way at all. Like eventually, I'd love to just have like a pure operations person, you know, a pure marketing person, and then just have me and Gil kind of just, you know, steer the ship.
Yeah. So now we're kind of fast forwarding here. So this building, you talked about it in the beginning, but downstairs I saw, 30, 40 people sitting down there right now. But the goal is that this building is packed to the gills.
Packed, yeah.
260, is that what you said?
Yeah, so we've got about 260 people that are members of our culture.
Okay, already?
They're already here.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
They're already here. You hear construction in the back. Like this is literally like we soft opened a week and a half ago because there's some people that really wanted to be inside the office. Now, 260 people never show up at the same time, right? So it's the way you got to look at it is that to truly grow this big, it's kind of like a gym membership, right? Like there's thousands of people that are signed up to Crunch Fitness, but only a fraction of people show up to the gym.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of how it is. There's some people that do like to work from home or maybe a little bit farther away from the office and things like that. But the reason people really love joining us is because of the energy. People want to be around other growers. You know, you become who you're around, and we are heavily, and we stay heavily training, coaching, personal development heavy. Like, we're going to take 100 people to Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within. We're doing a real estate mastermind called Build at Sea on a cruise ship in June. We do classes every Tuesday, every Thursday, every second Wednesday. We have a major rally every single month. Every other month, we do a 3-day boot camp. Like, activity, coaching, training, level growth. Earlier, before this podcast, we were doing something called the Coaches and Council meeting. So we have coaches, like, we like indirectly have built basically a speakers bureau. Like, I've got people here that have spoken all over the country that I would put on any stage. And like, I go to conferences and I was like, oh, I got people in my office better than this. You know what I mean? Like, because we give them stages to get on. We expect you to lead. Like, that's what culture, like our culture is like, you're not coming here just to be an agent. You're coming here to be an entrepreneur. We want you to become a leader, and we want you to become a leader that creates leaders. Like, this is who we are. Like, is this what you want? And we tend to attract that person because that's what we tell them we want, and that's what we get. So so there's 260 now. The goal is to get to 500 to 1,000 agents, you know, signed up out of this office. And then we've actually become kind of a like a flagship so EXP Realty was built as a virtual company.
Yep.
We were one of the first ones to decide that we were going to keep our office space, that we were going to try to run this like a hybrid, just like a regular brokerage, because we couldn't see ourselves being 100% virtual. And we started that, 8 years ago, but it was a struggle. Through that struggle, we were able to build a system to be able to fund places like this, and really for us first, but I needed EXP's help to do it, and they helped me do it. So we ended up creating the system that has now been rolled out company-wide, which is called the Culture Center Program. And the Culture Center Program allows somebody who wants to have a space and wants to build community and wants this kind of energy and all that kind of stuff to be able to fund it. And there's the actual system is just boring. It's really just a way of collecting a transaction fee, or what we call a culture fee, from each transaction. But because everybody's independent at EXP, like they have their own back-end system, we were having a problem tracking and collecting. And that's what was killing us. Like, I can't, there's too many people dependent on figuring out who closed what, when, did they charge the thing, did the title company cut the check? Like, it was a problem. Now the system's directly with EXP. EXP is the one that actually knows every transaction that goes through the brokerage. So they have a whole department now that has our roster. And they know when a deal closes, they take that transaction fee just like they take their transaction fees, and then they pay us directly. And that's the Culture Center Program. We teach everybody else how to actually build the culture, right? But the Culture Center Program is really just a logistics.
Yeah.
Like, how do we make sure you guys can collect this so you can know what kind of space you can afford, so you can and what kind of budget you can have. So it's been a wild ride, man. And like I said, you're at like the beginning of our, like, the flagship culture center in the entire nation. Like, literally, you're sitting in it.
The guy who doesn't classify himself as an entrepreneur. You're going to be an entrepreneur. You're going to be a leader.
Yeah.
Hey, I just took this massive, there's 90,000 agents with EXP.
Yeah. This
massive company, right? And we built something that they didn't have that they're now implementing elsewhere. I don't see myself as an entrepreneur.
That's something that I've tried to, like, I'm actually bad at.
Is it a humility thing? Is it?
It is. I actually.
You're a team player.
I love humility, and I like being humble. I think I actually, like, I've been working on this. Like, I don't give enough credit to the things that I do. It's almost like I'm a really tough coach on myself. And I always tell people, I'm like, I'm not easily impressed, which is a blessing and a curse, because I'm not impressed with myself either. And it doesn't allow me sometimes to really see, like from the outside looking in, you're like, oh my gosh, like that's.
Have you been reading my diary?
right. I don't know. Is that what you've been going through?
Yes.
It's tough. It's like, I don't know why it's been so tough for me to be like like just recently I realized that like, because it's like you're always chasing something and you're always trying to get to this next level, and then there's people around you that are there's agents in this office that make more money than me, hands down. You know what I'm saying? And you're watching this happen before your face, but I'm the entrepreneur, right? I'm the owner, but you're making more money than me, right? So it can really mess with your psyche.
Yeah.
Like, am I a good entrepreneur? Am I failing? Like, am I failing at this? Like, is this like whatever? But what I realized is funny because I teach a lot about investing, and I realized that wealth is many things, right? People think of wealth as money, and that's the only measure that they use. But there's relationship wealth, there's emotional wealth, there's spiritual wealth, physical wealth. There's all these other wealths out there if you truly want to live a great life. So what I realized lately was I'm extremely wealthy. Like this guy might have a lot more money than him, but if I want his money, I got to take his life, and I don't want his life because his wife hates him and his kids don't talk to him. And he's completely overweight and out of shape, and I don't know if he's going to make it another 10 years. So the reality is, do I want that kind of wealth? No, actually I don't. I can continue to work on the money part and build that up. But I really got to thank God for the wealth that I got.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sitting here for you, 47 years old. I feel good. I'm healthy. I've got incredible friends like you, and meeting them all the time. Now that I'm like diving deeper and deeper into faith, I'm getting all these awesome faith-based, friends and business partners like PJ. Like, my life is rich. Like, it's rich. But it takes a while to kind of like, because society will tell you that these are the only things that matter. And so yeah, like just now I'm starting to understand that, like, okay, actually I've been in this for a long time, and like literally one of my mantras this year was just like, be him, be this person that you've always thought you could be, that God thinks you can be, that other people from the outside looking in are telling you are, instead of like kind of saying like, no, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I'm like, dude, just step into it. Like, just be this guy. And so maybe you write that in your own diary, because that's what we all need to do,
Dude, there's nothing I can say to wrap this up, because that was amazing. All I can say is that the space you're building here is impressive. You can feel the energy when you walk in downstairs. And I think that's a testament to you and your business partner and what you guys have been building. And I appreciate you. I joined, the Citrus Club and started going to the business Bible study on Thursday mornings. And first morning or second time you sat down next to me and introduced yourself, and we grabbed breakfast, and it's like, it's exactly what I'm here for, right? To meet like-minded individuals who are trying to build something.
Well, you have great energy, man. And I've told you that a lot of times before, but people were watching. It's like, that's one of your superpowers is energy, and everybody has the ability to walk into the room and raise the energy level and elevate spirits and elevate minds. You know what I mean? And so when we sat down, what I noticed initially from you was, one, you smile, like you radiate happiness and joy, but you also contributed to the Bible study. Like when there was time, you would, because, a lot of people come and they're a little bit shyer about, like, because we discuss, we ask questions and discuss the Bible verse and stuff like that. And we go around the table and see who wants to speak. And a lot of times for weeks, people will say nothing.
Yeah.
They just, but you were like one of the, you hopped right in and then started giving some really insightful stuff. And I was like, I like this dude. Like this dude, I'm glad this dude joined the Bible study. I'm like, this guy's cool.
Well, what I appreciate is when someone says something and like, or they tell a personal story, and you and I will be like,
yeah, we
like,
keep it lighthearted.
Like that was a little personal, right? Or like, I love when this just past week, I'm blanking on her name, but someone asked, does anyone want to read for us? And she raised her hand, and I was like, we're not those kind of people here. Like, you
don't have to raise your hand. You could just say, I'll do it.
Yeah. Right. So I appreciate that sense of humor, man. But I appreciate your time, man.
Yes, sir.
You got a lot of people downstairs looking for your direction.
Yeah. No, but this is way more fun.
I appreciate you,
brother.
man.
Thank you.